All right, so this is our October class on how to stay safe online. We do this yearly. And one of the good things, if Rebecca has your email, is you'll get a link to the slideshow. I do have a lot of links in the slideshow that you can click on. There are also a couple of things that you can do after the slideshow is done, after our presentation is done. If you want to take a quiz, or there's actually a monthly calendar that I have linked of things to do during October to kind of learn more about how to be safe online. And you'll also get a link to the recording in case it's easier for you to kind of follow along as we go through it. October is Cyber Awareness Month, and this has been in place since 2004. United States and Congress declared October to be Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and this is supported by CISA and the National Cybersecurity Alliance. That means there are a lot of kind of things available around this time that you can do in order to learn more about how to be safe online. This class and the slideshow has a lot of information. I don't expect you to learn everything. At the end, we'll go over a couple of key takeaways, but I'll also leave some of the slides kind of unexplored. One, to fit the time constraints, and secondly, in case someone has any questions later, we can pull up those slides and talk about it. One of the first things we'll go over is just KnowBe4. KnowBe4 is a company / platform specifically created kind of to do phishing tests and to gather information on how to be safe online. This is generally aimed towards businesses, but in October, they do put out a calendar. So things to do during the month of October in order to learn more at a more gradual pace. One of the benefits, and I have the link directly in the slideshow, one of the benefits is you can go at your own pace, and not everything is constrained to this hour or hour and a half we're going to be discussing this topic. So you can kind of just learn one thing a day, and hopefully have that kind of be more sticky in your mind. I know if I learn 10 things in this, if I were to learn 10 things in this class, by next week I would have forgotten at least 5 of them. So it's one of the benefits of having something you can do outside of this to kind of slowly reaffirm and relearn things we've discussed. I like to have this slide mainly because it has really big numbers on it. This is why companies should care. So it's why companies will use services like KnowBe4. So these are the fines that governments have levied against companies who have been not as security conscious as they should have been. The top one is Meta, aka Facebook, for 1.3 billion. As you look through this list, you'll notice that Facebook happens a lot. So their security policies leave a little bit to be desired. So Facebook / Meta, 1.3 billion, 413 million. We have 277 million, 263 million, and 255 million. I don't know if anyone remembers, probably about a decade ago at this point, the huge Home Depot data breach. That one was only 200 million in fines. So all of these other ones are bigger. And anyway, this is also to kind of show you that if companies have an issue with being secure online in general, it's just something that you have to be very proactive about, because all of these companies have policies in place to kind of stop breaches from happening, and even they are affected by it. The safest thing you can do, of course, is to never use the internet. But in this day and age, that is almost an impossibility if you want to be a productive member of society, unfortunately. As we've gone in the past, 10, 20 years, everything has kind of moved and transitioned to being online. Now, I apologize if the text on this page is small, but I wanted to provide kind of a bunch of stats.
Tim,
Yes,
and this is Kath, before you go on the last one, you had 1.3 billion for Facebook and then 413 million for Facebook as well. Why two different figures?
these are different incidents.
Oh, those are per incident.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So the 1.3 billion from Facebook was actually, I believe, in 2024, whereas the older fines were, or the smaller fines were for older instances of getting fined.
So they're not an incident, it would be during a year.
Nope, these were per incident. It just so happens that the most recent and largest fine Facebook has received was from last year.
Thank you.
Yep. Average cost of a single ransomware attack is 5.13 million. Obviously, this is talking about businesses. I don't think any individual is really averaging losses of 5.13 million from a ransomware attack. A ransomware attack is where somehow an attacker will get into a business and will start encrypting all of their information. And the business has to make a decision if it is cheaper to try and rebuild all of that information, or if it is cheaper for them to pay the ransom and get their data back. The scary thing on this slide, none of it is really happy, but the scariest thing is that breach discovery takes an average of 258 days. Now, what this means for you is that if, like with Home Depot, when Home Depot was breached, on average, it would take them almost a year to figure out that they have been breached. So that means that on an average, there are 258 days of attackers having your information if you use that company and they don't know about it, which means you don't know about it, which means your information is being out there in the wild without anyone knowing about it for an average of 258 days. So that means the onus is really on us as individuals to be as safe as possible and follow best practices. So who's behind data breaches? It's mostly outsiders, but 30% are internal bad actors. That means someone working for the company. Cybercrime is up after COVID-19. During COVID, a lot of things transitioned to be more online based. And attackers realized this and upped their game. They started doing more and more online attacks. AI, if you're wondering, has also increased this by a lot. There is a link. I don't know if I have it in this presentation, but there's a video put out by IBM, their cyber research division, where they show a comparative of how long it takes to produce kind of a phishing email. So that's an email that attackers use to try and get you to click on something, where it took them hours and hours to put together a really nice phishing email. And then they used AI and generated very similar quality of email in maybe 10 minutes. So AI has increased this problem. So before we get into phishing, these are the things you need to watch out for on your computer. So these are types of malware. You can think of malware as in general bad, but there are distinctions between the types of malware. There's a virus, there's worm, there's Trojans, spyware, and ransomware. I have short little dots next to each one to kind of very briefly explain what it is. But just, I'm not going to go deep into what the difference is. All of them are a negative thing. And we'll also go over how to kind of protect yourself from getting one of these in the first place, and also how to do remediation or how to remove it from your computer in case it already got on there. Phishing. So the most likely attack sources in 2025 are from brands. So Microsoft, DocuSign, and Work, quote unquote, human resources departments are the top three. So specifically for the human resources department one, this will be something like, hi, your vacation policy has changed, click here. Or, hi, click here to see a document on your pay raise that you're getting. Or your healthcare has changed, please click here to see how it impacts you. So stuff that's very mundane, but very important, and it's designed to let you lower your guard and make you want to click on it. For Microsoft, it'll be things like your account needs to have its password reset. Click here to reset your password. For DocuSign, since COVID, a lot of businesses have transitioned to signing documents online as opposed to someone sitting there with a clipboard. So you'll receive a link. It'll say, click here to sign up for a pest control service. Click here to view your taxes. Click here to view your water bill. And it'll be a DocuSign link, and it will actually be erroneous. New things that are being attacked are more based or more towards businesses, but that's kind of chat. So Slack, Teams, and for us as individuals, social media. So for social media, it'll be things like you have a new friend on LinkedIn or Facebook, click here. All of these things are designed and created to make you think that they are real. Another thing that's brought up now is QR codes. Has anyone been to a restaurant recently and instead of a menu, they just have like that little square where it's like take your phone and click on it to view the menu for the restaurant?
Just like this, the one that we have on our survey, but this one is official. Oh.
Yeah. So basically, as these have become more mainstream again, and people are used to clicking on them for things like restaurant menus, people will use them. And the way this attack works is they will leave a QR code out, they will print it up, make it look official, and someone goes with their phone, views it, clicks on the link, and that act has them go to a malicious site. The other exciting one that you may have seen in the news is vishing, or AI deepfakes. And basically this is where someone's likeness or voice is impersonated. So it really seems like it's coming from someone you know. There was a data breach in 2024 because an employee at a bank received a video conference call from the CEO, and the CEO asked him to do something. The employee knew what the CEO looked and sounded like. The person that the employee was talking to looked and sounded like the CEO, and it seemed like a request that he should do. So he did it, and it turns out it was a fake image of the CEO made to look like it was a real person. So things are getting a little out of control. What to look for, which is on the right-hand side of this slide. Extreme urgency. So if something makes you feel really anxiety-ridden, or if it sounds like you need to immediately do something, just take a step back and think about it for a couple of minutes. These will be things like you'll get an email saying your email address is about to be deleted unless you click this link now to verify who you are. That email is not going to exist. It's not going to normally be sent to you. But anything that gives extreme urgency, that's especially when you need to kind of take a breath, think about it, phone a friend. or you can always drop by for Tech Drop-In on Wednesdays. Unexpected contact. So this is, you were not talking to someone who does pest control or remediation, and all of a sudden they're emailing you. It might be fake. The other thing, and we'll talk about this, but there is a little lock icon in the top left of a browser to show that a website is secure. All that means is someone has paid for the website to be verified. It does not mean that the website is verified as in is not malicious. So scammers can still verify their fake websites. So always make sure that you're going to the correct website versus just looking at the lock icon and trusting it. And the last thing is malicious attachments. So this will be a PDF or a Word document or a photo that someone will try to get you to download. Generally, this is going to be used in conjunction with some other form of phishing. So it'll say, hey, you have this bill, click here to view it, that kind of thing. If you are not expecting the bill, that's when you know you should double check and make sure that it's real before actually clicking or calling or doing anything like that. If you receive an email that says, call this number if you have any questions, you can't trust that number. So if you get an email from your credit card company saying, call us, we have some information about your account, go to your official credit card company's website to find the number you should call, as opposed to trusting the one that's in the email. Do we have any questions on this slide? Okay, so quiz and training. I know it's very exciting. Everyone loves a good quiz. I'm just going to click on one of them on this, these just to show you what they look like. And this is the KnowBe4 one. Just to show you what it looks like. So you can click on it later and kind of go through it at your leisure. But for this one, which is a phishing quiz put out by Google, we'll at least go through the first question. All right, so I'll scroll down a little bit and hit take the quiz. Make up a name and email, very important. You don't actually need to put your personal information in here. My name for this will be Bob. Bobby@gmail.com. And get started. So this is, it'll explain what the email is. It'll also give you little tips. So if you can't read it, it says be sure to check out link URLs by hovering and then look at the email addresses. Don't worry, none of the links will work. Don't want to send you anywhere funny. And then below it, it says phishing or legitimate. So for this quiz, which is 10 questions, as you can see in the top right-hand corner, it will give you 10 scenarios and you get to try and determine if it is real or fake. So we'll go through this together just so you can see the process. I received an email from Luke Johnson. He has shared a document and he has invited us to edit the following document with a friendly little message. Hey there, here's the doc that you asked for. Let me know if you need anything else. So first of all, I assume in this scenario, I am supposed to pretend like I should have received an email from Luke Johnson, because otherwise immediately, I don't know a Luke Johnson, we're saying it's fake. If I click on this little arrow underneath his name, it'll say the email address that it's from and the email address that it's to. So the email address is to me. The email address is from luke.json8000@gmail.com regarding our 2025 departmental budget. Departmental budget, Luke Johnson's the owner. Last edited 1 hour ago. This looks like a real email, right? If you've ever received a Google Drive link, this looks real. One thing, and it's going to be very difficult for everyone to see, is if I hover over the link, So the image on the left-hand bottom left, it will show me where the link is going to go. It says http://drive-google.com bleh. So random stuff. So I noticed two things wrong. First of all, anything you click on these days will be HTTPS. The S stands for secure. Also, while I don't know the exact Google Drive link, I do know it doesn't have 2 hyphens in it. So it seems to me like this is fake. So what that means is I will go up and I will click on the button that says phishing. Once I have clicked on the button that says phishing, it will verify, it will tell me if it's phishing or not, and it will tell me what I should have looked at. So there are some things in this quiz where there will be 3 bits of information that will clue you in to that it's a phishing email. You may have only seen one, but the nice thing about this is it goes through and it shows you all 3 things you should have saw. So it'll say, be cautious about hyperlinks and attachments. They may direct you to fraudulent websites. And then I'll click show me, and it will go through and show me what I should have been looking at. So mousing over this link will show you that it goes to the insecure imitation domain drive-google.com. We found that one. Next. And then it will take us to the next quiz question. So that's one thing you can do after class or after this presentation. The second thing is know before. So know before, we slightly talked about it. It's generally for businesses, but every October they come out with a calendar and they will have modules and it will show you like week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. So things for you to do. So security culture and you, AI and sensitive info don't mix. It'll kind of cloud ransomware demo. It will basically take you through a little bit of information on kind of how to learn to spot bad things. And it's very slow, and this page will eventually be full of links that you can click on in order to kind of take training at your own pace. So for example, we had just talked about QR codes. I'll click on that, and it has a little slideshow or a video on how QR codes can be used to do negative things. But the link is in the presentation, and you can definitely go through and click on this at your leisure. It will also have downloadable assets. Once again, these are more business focused, but these will be things like posters that'll give you 5 tips to spot a bad email and that kind of stuff. So normally you would print out the posters, put them around your business, but if you find any of them useful, you can always print them out and have them around your house as well. Any questions about the quiz or the training that you can do at your leisure? I like that word leisure. All right. We're back. All right. So this is another slide that just has a link to the phishing quiz. This is from 2018. So this is a bit old, but I just like the look at the infographic. Top clicked phishing tests from the entirety of people who used 8x8 to send their business or themselves fake emails. And basically the thing that I like about it is it shows you that 45% of Q1 2018 of phishing emails that people clicked were for LinkedIn. So this is just another way to kind of see what spam or what fake emails people are seeing and what is working. So we have LinkedIn, you've been tagged in a photo, you have a password change, you logged in from somewhere, click here to verify, and new voice message. Anyway, I just like the infographic. So we're going to quickly go over behavior. So these are things that you can do to be better prepared to be secure online. Bad behavior, you forget to log off of your computer. So in a business sense, this is you get up from your desk and you walk away. In the personal sense, this means you are at a restaurant, you get up to use the bathroom, and you leave your phone unlocked. This is you're at a coffee shop with your laptop, and you walk away to pick up your coffee, and your computer is unlocked. So people can do anything they want with your computer once you've kind of left the vicinity of it. The next thing is poor password management. That means reusing passwords, using bad passwords, so passwords that are short, or it means writing down your passwords where it's kind of easy for someone to find them. The other bad thing about writing down passwords is it's possible you lose that password list that you've written down, and then you're kind of out of luck or up a creek without a paddle. The next bad behavior is not having a backup of your computer. Basically what this means is if your computer dies tomorrow, how much of a hassle would it be to get your information back, to get all of your photos back, to get all of your tax documents going back 30 years if you store them on your computer. So you want to make sure that your computer is backed up. The next one is failure to check for and apply system or firmware updates. So if you're using a Mac, in the top right-hand corner, Apple will have a message saying, click here for the latest update. You'll want to click there for the latest update. I know those updates generally happen at the most inconvenient time you're working on something else, but if you do decide to defer the update, make sure you go back and click on it later. And Microsoft or Windows in the bottom right-hand corner will have a pop-up that says, click here to apply system updates. An example of bad behavior is clicking on things. Always think about something before you click on it. You can do that little trick that we went over in the quiz where you hover over the thing you're about to click and make sure it matches where you think you're going to be going. And another example of bad behavior is you don't have alerts set up. So for example, your credit card company will allow you to have alerts set up for if you make a payment. I personally am not someone to follow because I'm a bit different, but I have an alert for my credit card set up to alert me whenever I spend anything over $1. So basically any transaction, I'll get an alert. So I'll go to MarketBasket, because I care about money, and I will make a purchase and I will immediately get an alert that I have spent money at MarketBasket. It has helped me once, so I keep doing it. But one time I got an alert that I just bought like $3,000 worth of stuff in Texas. I was sitting in New Hampshire at the time, and I thought to myself, this doesn't look right. So I called my credit card company, and they were like, yeah, so that wasn't you? And I said, no. And they said, cool, we're going to cancel that transaction. Problem solved. I don't know if I hadn't had that alert, what that process would have been like, but because I immediately got notified, it seemed like it was very straightforward. Different types of attacks. We'll skip this for now. We'll come back if we have time or if someone asks about it. But these are things that you can kind of Google and learn about what they are. Spam bomb, two-factor authentication, web defacement, phone mom. That's a link to a video. I highly encourage you watching it. And CEO wants something. The one takeaway from this slide that I think is very important is your email is not an emergency. There will be maybe one time in your life where you will have to respond to an email within 5 minutes. And so it basically never happens. If an email makes you amazingly anxious and makes you feel like you have to do something immediately, there's a high likelihood that it's a fake email designed to make you want to click on something without thinking it through. All right, software firmware updates. Briefly went over this. I have an example of it on this slide. If you go back in time, let's say 20 years, it's been a long time now, there was a very famous incident or ransomware called WannaCry. I think it was famous partially because the amount of money it got and the name was very catchy. It hit more than 300,000 individuals in more than 150 companies, so it wasn't just US. And it used a vulnerability that if people had done Windows updates, they were unaffected by it. And they had 2 months to run a Windows update in order to be protected from something that hit over 300,000 people. So just remember to update your computer when it says so. To that point, if anyone is currently using a Windows 10 computer, it has lost the ability to get security updates. What that means is there is nothing you can do to make it be safe from this point forward if you are using it online. If you need to figure out how to know your computer's Windows 11, it's in Control Panel, or it's in System, which is the gear icon on Windows. But I would highly advise buying a new computer, or at least limiting what you do online if you have a Windows 10 computer at this point. Antivirus and anti-malware software. I used to have these as separate sections. I believe I just condensed it into one. Technically, they're different, but they're almost interchangeable at this point. Antivirus and anti-malware are part of defense in depth. What that means is multiple things to defend yourself. The first part is you not clicking on the thing. However, if you click on the thing, that is bad. Your antivirus software should be able to block it, and your anti-malware software should be able to remove it. I generally don't like to give just straightforward recommendations on what people should buy or purchase or whatever. So I have a link to avcomparatives.org. This is I don't know if it's a company or not, but this is a website that tests about 20 antivirus products. They test it every month to see if they're effective, how good they are at finding real things, if they are overzealous and start blocking things that are real. They put them through a bunch of tests every month and they publish the results so you can see what a good antivirus is. So we'll just click on it. I'm partially clicking on all these links so that you can see that, I'm not trying to infect you with something. But anyway, this is the main page. What you'll want to do, this is a lot of information, is performance, false alarm, malware protection. The one we generally care about is the malware protection for October 2025. So I will click on it. This will tell you what it's doing. This will tell you the products it is testing. It will tell you the test procedure. It'll clarify some things, test cases, ranking system, blah, blah, blah. What we care about is this graph right here. So basically the ones at the top are the ones that tested better this month. One of the things you'll realize if you go through multiple months of these is that they kind of switch positions a little bit. Also, they're very close. So offline detection, that means it's not comparing it to things online. Online detection and online protection. Online detection is it has detected the thing before you click on it. Online protection is it allowed you to click on the thing, but then it protected you from it afterwards. So as you can see, in the worst case scenario of you have clicked on it and it has, quote unquote, been downloaded to your computer, you're still protected. 99.98%, 99.98%, 99.99%. So all of these are very good. Like the worst one that I see is 99.52%. Oh, there's a 99.48. All of them are very good. What I don't want you to do is click on this list, see that currently Avast is ranked the best in their criteria for October, and say, I have to get Avast. All of these are good, except maybe Trend Micro. But so just take this with a grain of salt. Whatever is number one for October is not going to be number one for September. They switch each other up a lot in the rankings. If you want to kind of take anything from this table, the thing I care about mostly is false alarms. So these are things that freak you out, but aren't actually bad. And I just don't like that because if you have a lot of false alarms, what that can mean is you start thinking of your antivirus as being wrong all the time. And I want you to think of your antivirus as it has alerted me that there is something bad. I trust it that there is something bad. As opposed to if it gives you a lot of false alarms, you may think, well, maybe it's wrong. So I don't like false alarms.
Tim, what happens when you fall in that 0.2%?
You pray. So one thing to also note is this doesn't test with things that are guaranteed to destroy your life, right? So the 0.2%, you may get a piece of malware that really doesn't do anything. So obviously you don't want it on your computer, but also the next time your antivirus runs a scan, there's a high likelihood that it will get a new update that will allow it to figure out that that's a bad thing and it will remove it from your system. But it is important to know that that 0.2% means you can't trust this explicitly. You can't just say, I have a great antivirus according to AV Comparatives 2024 October and just click on stuff willy-nilly. You still have to think about it. The one thing I will also point out is Microsoft. This is the free thing that comes with a Windows computer. Offline detection rate doesn't sound so great, 88.4. However, if your computer is online for the month of October 2025, online protection rate was 100%. So even if you don't spend money, as long as you keep your computer updated, you have pretty good protection, is the other takeaway from this report that I'd like you to think about. So it's not a cause for, crying, running out of the room, immediately putting your credit card down and paying for a service. The one you get for free is perfectly serviceable, as long as you also kind of think about stuff before you click. And again, next month, maybe Microsoft does better. Maybe it does worse, but these things will fluctuate. Passwords, one of my favorite things. We've actually done classes specifically on passwords, so I'll generally spend a little less time on this class about it. But some quick tips are don't use short passwords, don't store them improperly, so don't write them down or sticky note them to your computer. Please remember to change your passwords. What I generally like to say is once a year. Also, if you ever receive an alert about your password needing to be changed, or that a website has been breached, or you see in the news that Home Depot has been breached again, don't click on anything. Just go and change your Home Depot password. If you feel weird about it, change your password. Changing your password shouldn't be a scary thing. It should just be a minor inconvenience in your day. And then you go about the rest of your day not really having thought about it because it's such a simple process. Please don't make your password easy to guess. Your favorite sports team is not a good password. Please don't use the same password. So don't use the same password for your New York Times subscription as you do for your Home Depot, as you do for your bank. Because if one of those is stolen, then they have all three. Don't use dates, names, locations. Just make it hard to make it so that they can't guess it. If we have time at the end, someone can remind me and we can go to Have I Been Pwned? Basically, you put in your email address and it will tell you what data breaches your email address has been found in. Strong passwords. There's another link on here. Once again, we can come back afterwards. The link will take you to a place where you can type in something remarkably similar to your password, not actually your password, that would be bad, and it will tell you how long it would take a computer to guess it. For example, there are 6, some massive number after that. Let's just say quintillion combinations if your password has 8 letters with characters. And it would take a computer 3 hours to guess it. So if your password is only 8 characters, you can take a computer and a computer will be able to guess it within 3 hours. So the most important thing for your password is that it is long. So I say at least 15 characters.
Hmm.
This is a slide marked levity. So it's a little comic that kind of gives you an example of what a good password might be versus a bad password. In the first part, it talks about capital T, the password being troubadour and 3. So capital T, lowercase r, 0, lowercase u, lowercase b, 4, lowercase d, lowercase o, lowercase r, @, the number 3. It would take a computer 3 days to guess it, and you've already forgotten it. Below it, correct horse battery staple. It would take 550 years for a computer to guess it, and it's very easy to remember. So this is just kind of reaffirming that password length is more important than complexity. I do recommend having both, but just so you can kind of think about it, you can write 4 words down as your password, add a symbol, add a number, and all of a sudden you have a fantastic password. All right, after I've just said that, yes.
So when they tell you to make it at least 8 letters, so you don't have to go by that, you should double it.
Yeah, I always recommend at least 15. I also appreciate that after I've just explained what makes a good password, I will immediately tell you to use a password manager so that you never have to think about what your password is. The password manager will automatically generate a very strong password for you. The only password you'll need to remember if you use a password manager is the password to get into the password manager and your email address password in order to reset your password management password if you forget it. You may ask yourself, what is a good password manager? We go over that in a future slide, but I highly recommend using a password manager. It allows you to not have a notebook with different passwords. It allows you to not need to remember all of your different passwords. If you count up how many passwords you have, the number is very, very large, much larger than you initially think. I myself have over 1,000 passwords. That's a bit extreme, but there's also no way that I would ever even remember 20 or 30 passwords and have them be good passwords. We briefly talked about backups. This is just a slide going over 2 backup strategies. I like to think of just the first one as important, the 3-2-1 rule. You want 3 copies of your data in 2 different places, and one of those places being offsite. So what this functionally means, let's pretend I have a Mac computer in front of me, which is what I have. I plug in a hard drive to it, an external hard drive. I click on the button that magically says use Time Machine, and Time Machine starts backing up my entire computer. I also use Google Drive to store my documents, and that's the 3-2-1 already done. I have a copy of the data on my computer, I have the copy of my data on the external hard drive, and I have a copy of data in the cloud. With Google Drive, aka the cloud, that counts as the offsite repository of my data. We also have a class specifically on cloud storage and backups, so I don't spend too much time on that one. For browsers, which is how you interact with the internet, you can install privacy enhancing plugins, or aka extensions. I have a list of extensions that's recommended by some online source. I've written down a couple of them. uBlock Origin or uBlock Origin Lite is generally what I recommend. There's also Privacy Badger and AdGuard. And then if you want to go a bit crazy, you can use uMatrix or NoScript. The important thing to remember with extensions is once you have installed it, they will show up in the top right in your toolbar. If you are experiencing issues with a website, make sure to check to see if the extension is doing anything on that site. And once again, at the end, you can ask me about it and I can physically show you. But we also have a class that in the past has gone over browser extensions only, which you can find in the repository we have on YouTube.
Tim, you totally lost me on that.
Me too.
On browser extensions?
Yes.
Sure. So, I feel like most people use Chrome. So browser extensions, in the top right of Chrome, there's this little puzzle piece. That's the Google Chrome extension. If I click on Manage Extensions, this shows you the extensions I have installed. I don't really have any installed. So I'll go to the left-hand side, click on Chrome Web Store, and I will search uBlock. The one I generally install for myself is uBlock Origin Lite. You can see that it has 2.2 thousand ratings, an average of 4.5 stars, which means people generally like it. Also, over 12 million people have installed it, which to me says it's fairly popular. Right underneath, it'll show you some images of what it looks like. It'll explain what the extension does. And then you can see, reviews or people talking about it. Generally, people like it. 5-star, 5-star, 5-star. And then in order to install it, all I would do is hit Add to Chrome. So as a little test, I'll go to CNN.
Tim, is that like going to Google to look something up, but you don't have to because you put that in to look it up for you?
No.
Like I said, I'm totally.
Yep. So this works on every single site you go to. I just went to CNN right now. You can see what it looks like before I have the extension installed. I will hit Add to Chrome, Add Extension. I will patiently wait. I will go to the little icon in the top right-hand corner that looks like a puzzle piece. I will hit the pin button on uBlock Origin Lite. All this does is it makes it 100% of the time visible up here. If it's red, that means it's doing something and it's working. I will now open a new tab, go to CNN, hit agree, and it will immediately not be that impressive. But if I click on here, you can see what it would look like before. This huge top thing is an ad, agree, and then I can also click on or just view on the top right hand corner, the red shield. And I can see the number is, it's currently blocked 45 things on this website. So that means it found 45 things that it determined were an ad, and it blocked them. 48. As you use a website, more and more things will load, and you'll see that number go up. So this extension, uBlock Origin Lite, has stopped me from seeing what it determined to be 48 ads or tracking links.
So that's the purpose of using the browser extension.
Yes. It is basically less ads.
Yeah.
And with less ads, it gives you less things to click on, which makes you safer online. If you are having an issue with a website after installing a browser extension like this, all you do is click on it and then turn it to no filtering, and then you get to see all the ads. So this is an ad. This Leica thing up here is an ad. We can see our ads starting to load on the right-hand side.
So it's a time saver.
Yep. Also, in general, I don't think people like to see ads, but it'll just block like all this stuff. You know, so I can accidentally click on all these things which are ads, and it just removes that, so I don't even have to see it. Technically, it also makes your web experience a little bit better just because it stops things from loading. But ultimately, I encourage people to use them because of the functionality of blocking ads and making yourself a little bit safer online. But anyway, that's how to install and use a browser extension. And the link on this page, marked extensions, is to where a website that has reviewed and gone over a couple different browser extensions. So you can read that to kind of figure out if a different extension would be better for you. Oftentimes people will talk about VPNs in the context of being safer online. I like to kind of have this slide just so you can have some statements about what a VPN can and can't do. A VPN can protect your privacy, prevent snooping, and secure your connection on public Wi-Fi. Basically, the thought process is if you're at a Starbucks, aka a coffee shop, or like an airport terminal, and you connect to public Wi-Fi, that's a security risk. If you use a VPN, that risk is mitigated. A VPN won't actually stop you from getting viruses or malware or cookies. It will not protect you against like a phishing email. If you sign into an account, like your Facebook account, Facebook will still have information on what you're doing online because you've now kind of disabled that part of the VPN by telling Facebook what you're doing. And a VPN is also only as secure as the company that runs it. What this basically means is if something is a free VPN, you shouldn't really trust it, with the exception of Proton. We also have done a class specific on VPNs where we've gone over all that. But do we have any questions on VPNs?
VPN, I mean, virtual private network. Oh, yeah, okay, thank you.
Yep. Cool. So I have these on here. This is for businesses slash physically things you can buy. So we will kind of blast through this. In general, businesses have a different set of standards than individuals. But we go over things like the CIA triad, what defense in depth is, blah, blah, blah. The slide I'd like to show you, or the thing that might actually impact you, is a firewall. So a firewall is technically hardware or software. In this context, it is hardware, which controls network traffic. So basically, this sits in front of your computer and blocks things from ever reaching your computer. Firewalls can use IDS or IPS, intrusion prevention, or intrusion detection systems. So it will detect that something bad is going to happen and it will block it, or it will detect that something bad is currently happening and block it. And I have one slide on what type of firewalls people can purchase. On the right-hand side are expensive-ish firewalls. So those are more for businesses. On the left-hand side are more consumer, or what someone would buy for their house. These devices, once again, in this example, I'll pretend like you have a Comcast modem. You have the Comcast modem. You plug the Comcast modem into your firewall, and then you plug in all of your other stuff behind the firewall. So the firewall will sit in front of your computer. It will sit between your computer and Comcast, and it will block things from ever reaching your computer. Some options are UniFi, and then Firewalla if you want hardware, and then there's OPNsense and pfSense if you kind of want to do it yourself. Generally not recommended, but it is an option. But if you want to know anything else about like physical firewalls, let me know at the end, and I'll talk about it in much more detail, as much as you want. Antivirus, anti-malware. On the left-hand side, we have the free-ish options. We have Windows Defender. That's the one that comes with your Windows computer. The other one I like to talk about is Malwarebytes, the free edition. You can think of Windows Defender as the antivirus that stops things from getting to your computer in the first place. And you can think of Malwarebytes Free Edition as the solution to remove something that's already on your computer. If you want to pay for it, the right-hand side has those options. I personally like Bitdefender. The main reason why you would pay for antivirus or anti-malware is if you have multiple computers at your house. You can make sure that all the computers are updated from one panel. So for example, if you have 3 computers in your house, you can go to Bitdefender on your computer, and you can make sure that your significant other's computer or your child's computer is also up to date without physically having to go touch those computers.
Tim, I noticed you don't have Trend up there. Is that a bad one to use?
Nope. As you saw, whenever we clicked on the AV comparatives, Trend Micro or TrendNet or whatever it's called, it's on the list. It's a good one. It's purely just because I only wanted like 5 or 6 on each of these sections. So it kind of limited the number of options I was able to give. Also, I just didn't want to write so many down. But definitely go to AV comparatives and take a look to determine a solution for yourself.
Can you also have Windows Defender running in addition to Trend?
Kind of. Sometimes antivirus products will fight each other.
Hmm.
Because an antivirus product, how it detects viruses and how it like integrates with the system to another antivirus product, it looks like a virus because it's going everywhere, it's looking at everything, it's modifying everything. It does a lot of things that are very virus-like. So sometimes if you have two antivirus products on your computer, they'll kind of fight each other. It's gotten better, but in the past, they would aggressively kind of kill files that belong to the other antivirus. I generally recommend just having one on the computer. If you install something that isn't Windows Defender, generally as part of the install process, it will disable Windows Defender. Network segmentation, primarily a business thing.
Hey Tim, I forgot to tell you before class started, but we actually have another group using the room at 2:30. So can we kind of wrap it up a little bit and like have time for questions?
Yep, I think
Awesome.
there's like 3 more slides or something. We talked about password managers. This is a list of password managers. Once again, on the left-hand side, the ones that have good free options, and on the right-hand side, the ones that have paid options that are good. If something's on the left-hand side, under free-ish, it also has a good paid option, but it also has a good free option. The two I generally recommend are Bitwarden if you like the color blue, and Proton if you like the color purple. This is another link to the KnowBe4 weekly training and questions. I might have been bang on with three slides. Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
Good job, Tim. Thank you.
Tim, you were saying the firewalls, we should have those on even our little computers?
Um,
And how expensive are they?
so your computer has a software firewall on it. I'm specifically referencing these, which are physical firewalls that go in front of your computer. So how expensive are they? Let's just take 2 of these options and let's take a look. So let's get the consumer one. Yep. So this one from Unify is $199. I generally recommend Unify if you also want things like access points. So those are devices that provide Wi-Fi and or security cameras. So things like doorbell cameras, cameras you mount to the wall and look at your driveway, that kind of stuff. Unify kind of manages all of those security things, so both physical and virtual. Firewall of Gold. This is $479. This is purely just a firewall, and it will sit between your devices and the internet and just protect it. Both of these do very similar things. The Unify system has all the other accoutrements you can add to it, like cameras and door access and all that stuff. And then Firewalla is purely a firewall. But I just showed you these two just to give you pricing, $479 and $200. So not an incredible amount of money, but they can get decently expensive.
Two things. Does a VPN slow down your system quite a bit? And is there a way to learn what that might be before you get a VPN?
Yeah, so oftentimes VPNs will allow you to do like trials. So, it'll be like a 7-day free trial. So really good VPNs, I'm gonna pull numbers out of thin air here, but really good VPNs will slow you down about 10 to 20%. Like bad VPNs will probably cut your speed in about half. And bad doesn't mean free. Bad means just not optimized. For VPNs, I can probably ask Rebecca to send that link to you as well. But the big ones, if you recognize the name, it's generally pretty good. The VPN I've been toying around recently is Proton VPN. It has a free version. It's probably the only one I would trust. The free version aggressively makes your connection slower because it's free and it wants you to buy the main thing. But inevitably, VPNs will take longer, will make your experience slower because before your connection goes to, CNN.com, it goes somewhere else first. So it's just adding latency. The other benefit of VPNs is you can pretend like you're in England, and sometimes what you're able to find on things like Netflix will change. Or like I know a lot of people buy them specifically for MLB, for baseball games because of the blackout locations, where if all of a sudden you say you're in Seattle, you're now able to watch Red Sox games. But anyway, yeah, so VPNs will slow you down a little bit. Most of them will give you the ability to try it out for 7 days, or they'll do something like a 30-day money-back guarantee. So you can see if it works for you.
And one more question, yep.
I heard that the muskrat and or the doggy canceled CISA, CISA, that they don't exist anymore and they're not doing anything. Is that true?
So it was defunded for a little bit, but then they brought it back. So they've proposed to cut it. The big thing that they have moved away from is they stopped the grant that I always forget the exact wording. But basically there was a grant that CISA would pay to a different company, which would basically monitor all the different attacks, and that company would then give a database of what all those attacks were from a central location, so all companies could be working with the same information. I don't know why I can't remember it, but yeah, Trump and Musk did cut CISA's budget. So obviously I'm slightly against that.
All right, everybody, I think we are out of time, but thank you so much, Tim. If you did not register for the class, make sure that I have your email so that I can send you all of the class information and resources and
plus the links to the other
plus
classes.
the links
that you
to the
mentioned.
other classes that you mentioned. Yes, absolutely.
There's so much in this.
Tim, you do a great job.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you. And any questions